Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today, we wanted to provide an update about the different capabilities we've enabled with Lifecycle Workflows in Security Copilot and Intra. We wanted to go through the different new enhancements that we've added to help better automate your lifecycle workflow events across joiner, mover, and leaver scenarios, and how you can manage access of your employees using natural language. So just a quick reminder, so Security Copilot is embedded in Microsoft Intra experiences, and it's currently in public preview. Lifecycle Workflows is one of those enhancements that are included in Security Copilot and Intra. And Security Copilot helps secure identities and access with AI, accelerate complex tasks with AI, and then empower the team with expertise that is powered by AI, so you don't have to have all the detailed technical expertise. So lifecycle workflow management. So today we have an existing capability in identity governance, in intra-ID governance, called Lifecycle Workflows. It's one of the products that helps manage the lifecycle of a user across, when they join the organization, when they move within the organization, and as they maybe leave the organization, being able to manage that access that a user has. And that existing capability is there in the product. There's support for being able to create a new workflow with a workflow template, being able to monitor and schedule the workflow execution, be able to customize that workflow to suit your needs, as well as be able to, add a set of, choose from a set of customized tasks for running that workflow for those users across being able to manage group management, membership, being able to send custom emails and notifications to the manager or the users themselves, like a welcome email, and then also being able to manage various other things like, license assignments and being able to enable or disable the user account as well as delete it and things like that. So all those things are already supported, as well as being able to monitor the workflow execution and how things are going. But today we want to talk about how we've now expanded those capabilities to be able to manage all those same things using Security Copilot and using AI to automate those things. And so this is a screen basically of what it looks like in the portal today. You'll see we actually have some starter prompts to help you get started and be able to explore some of those capabilities. But let's go into a little bit more detail. So with lifecycle workflows in Security Copilot, you can accelerate that identity lifecycle management with AI-powered instructions for being able to create workflows and being able to execute those workflows by getting expert guidance and customized guidance for workflow creation. We also offer the ability to get detailed workflow insights so that you can use natural language to explore what are some of the existing configurations that you already have across the workflows in your tenant, being able to explore the changes to those workflows as they get modified, who's modifying them, when was it modified, when was it created, things like that. And then also monitor a workflow's automation, including like the schedule and the different settings that you've customized and how those things are going. And then you can do deep analysis and possibly any troubleshooting if needed by analyzing the workflow details, detecting any issues, and then optimizing that automation by making necessary changes. And I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so when we talk about workflow automation, we have a set of skills that have been built for lifecycle workflows that cover various different angles, right, and perspectives. So one of the things that is core to lifecycle workflows, or LCW as we call it, is the ability to use a workflow template, right, to create a workflow either for a joiner, mover, or leaver scenarios. And so with Copilot now, you can explore what those templates are, which templates are available. And you can also do that by category. So you can either list, ask to get the list of all the templates that are available for creating a new workflow, or you can actually say, hey, what are all the templates available for creating a mover workflow or leaver workflow? So we have those things available by category as well. We also have the ability to explore the different workflow tasks that are available, like including by category. So you can ask the question of which lever task can I use to automate a lifecycle workflow? And then we'll give you those details and the guidance and recommendation. Or you can even ask and say, hey, which task can I use to disable accounts on premises, right? On-prem user accounts, right? And you get those insights and those answers from Copilot. The other thing you can do is list all the workflows in the tenants, right? So before you want to create a new workflow, let's say you want to know, okay, what are the existing workflows that are available? Maybe you and a colleague are jointly responsible for workflow and lifecycle management with lifecycle workflows. So you want to make sure that there is not already a workflow that exists already with a similar name or similar purpose, right? And you can explore those tasks. Additionally, you can look into, I mentioned before about being able to customize things, right? So you can actually take a look at using natural language. You can ask to look at and explore different settings, workflow settings that are being offered, right? Today, we offer settings around the schedule, right? You want to run a workflow, every hour, every 24 hours and things like that. We also offer settings for being able to customize the workflow when a workflow email notification gets sent out, a reminder email and such to the manager or things like that. You can customize using the custom branding that is already configured in your tenant. You can customize, okay, what is the sender information that I want to use as far as the domain and things like that. So the email has the same look and feel that customer or your employees are actually used to. In addition, we give expert guidance on how to create lifecycle workflows. So you can ask, say, hey, I want to create this new lifecycle workflows for new hires. I want to add them to this group. And I want to be able to send them a welcome email, right? And so you can actually type that out in a prompt with natural language, and then Copilot will give you back the instructions and the detailed instructions, customized instructions of how to go about creating that workflow. Now, on the insights front, so we have available a lot of a plethora, actually, of rich insights that you can use to explore how things are going, what's happening in your tenant with workflows, right? So you can get a list of all the mover workflows in your tenant. Let's say, again, we have this theme. You'll hear this theme, this pattern, right? There's this notion of workflow category, so you can request information, for joiners only, or joiners and movers, or just across the board, right? So we'll always offer that ability to specify a particular category, so you can filter things down. And so in this case, you can say, hey, what are all the mover workflows that I've are configured in my tenant? You can look up workflows by name. You can say, show me all the workflows that that start with onboarding, things like that, or have onboarding in the name. You can also look at any workflows that are not active in your tenant, right? And so maybe they've been disabled, or maybe they've been deleted, right? And so especially for, we support the deletion of workflows, the soft deletion of workflows. And so that's supported in the product. And then you have the ability to still restore them within that 30-day time frame. And so this offers the ability within Copilot, right, for you to be able to explore, hey, what are the details of any deleted workflows that I have, and should I restore them, right? Or how soon before they will be permanently deleted, things like that. And then you could also kind of take a look at what are some of the workflow changes. Like invariably, a lot of customers have always asked us about, when it comes to lifecycle workflows, like, hey, I want to be able to troubleshoot um, who be able to troubleshoot changes to my workflows, right? Like I want to know who last modified the workflow and when was that change made, right? And so with Copilot now with natural language, you can ask that question and you'll get that response without having to search for it yourself, right? And then additionally, you can go and look for any changes from the last version, right? So in Lifecycle Workflows, we support workflow versioning. So you can see, when any core changes are made to the workflow, you can go back and look back at those differences, right? And each version is created independently. And now with Security Copilot, you can go back and look at, hey, what changed in that last version of the workflow, or what changed in version, 2, if you have a workflow that has 7 versions or something like that, right? You can be able to basically dig into that a little bit and make sure that those changes were intentional or as expected. But then you can also compare workflow versions, right? So you can go ahead and specify the specific workflow versions that you want to compare. So again, if you have a workflow that maybe has 6 or 7 versions, right? You don't have to just compare the last 2, right? You don't have to say, hey, I want to know what changed between version 6 and 7. We can actually go and decide whatever versions you want to compare and see what was the differences. So you can go back and say, hey, I want to compare versions 1 and versions 5, right? And see how those things changed along the way. So we offer all those rich insights and more. These are just a few examples. We offer those things with the Security Copilot. The other thing that we've heard a lot as we've been, getting customer feedback on lifecycle workflows is, the appetite and the desire to be able to analyze and troubleshoot when things, are happening, being able to monitor, but then also being able to troubleshoot if there's anything that's discovered, right? And so we've brought that over to Security Copilot and allowed a rich set of ways to investigate and monitor and analyze and potentially troubleshoot if needed what's going on with your workflow executions and workflow processing, right? So one of the things that we offer is the ability to just summarize a workflow run for a specific workflow on a certain time frame. So you can say, hey, I want to summarize the runs for workflow A in the last 7 days. And what that'll do is that'll return and say, hey, these are, the total users that were run, how many, tasks were processed, and all that kind of goodness, right? So you can get that summarized information. But then if you want to actually dig in a little deeper, you can, maybe for investigative purposes, you can actually ask specific questions about, okay, which users failed to be processed by this workflow in the last 7 days, right? And so you can get a little bit more insight and detail about the users or the tasks by asking which tasks failed. But then you can also discover patterns across workflows, right? So maybe, if you want to, take a look at a specific workflow, that's available, but you can also look at patterns and insights across workflows in your tenant, right? So you can ask questions like, hey, which workflows failed the most in the last 30 days, right? So if I have, several different workflows, and I can go and optionally go and look at the individual workflow history and processing results. But then invariably, maybe I want to just kind of, pop it up a level and say, hey, how are things going in general, right? How many users were processed, across these workflows? Which tasks failed the most in the last 7 days? And how many mover workflows were executed in the last 30 days, right? So you can pick the number of days, it's X days, right? These are just a few examples, 7 days, but I think that the max right now is 30 days that you can look back. But this gives the ability to be able to get rich insights and be able to troubleshoot if needed But then you can also explore, success as well. I don't want to harp on failures always, but so you can actually get a feel for how many users were successfully processed across your workflows, right? So yeah, we try to offer a set of rich insights to help you, be able to get the information you need, and be able to, explore the things that you need to get your job done. And with that, I will show a live demo of how this looks in Lifecycle Workflows in the portal. One second. Switch screens here. All right. So hopefully you can see my screen okay. So where I've already gone to Lifecycle Workflows under ID Governance in the Intra Admin Center and Intra Portal. And so you'll see this is, what the end product looks like in general if you're not familiar. So in Lifecycle Workflows, as I mentioned, you have the ability to schedule workflows. So these are just, this is a quick overview of how things are set up. I also have, a list of workflows that are available in the tenant that have already been configured. I have the ability to create a workflow. As we talked about, I can look at deleted workflows, et cetera, right? We also have audit logs. And so what I want to show you is how Copilot looks here. So I'm just going to click on Copilot here. And as you can see, I mentioned earlier about starter prompts, being able to help you, with maybe you're not sure what to ask about lifecycle workflows. So we've created a few here to help you get started and explore. And so a couple of these things you'll notice that I shared already in the presentation. So for example, I can say which tenants are available for lifecycle workflow creation. So let me just hit that. And then Copilot will go off and analyze the tenants and what's available. And so while that's working, so in general, lifecycle workflows, you have to be a lifecycle workflows admin to be able to access all this information. And so similarly with Copilot, I'm already logged in as a lifecycle workflows admin. So I'm able to provide these prompts and get responses. And so you can see it's listing out the different templates, including the descriptions and the ID, and giving you a sense of which tasks are available on these templates. But you can always go and customize the different tasks. You can add some more. You can remove these. You can configure them, right? Because some tasks require configuration, like let's say add a user to a group. We need to know which group and things like that. Right, so you can see it listed out all the different templates that are available, and then there's also some suggested prompts for being able to explore even further. Right, so let's say one of the things is which lever task can I automate with lifecycle workflows? So let's see what that shows. So while that's working, so we do support a various number of tasks that are, that are built in. So I think we're up to over 20 now. I think it's 21 different tasks that we support, and the tasks are broken out by categories. And one task can actually be leveraged across multiple workflow categories. So you can have a task to disable the user, let's say, and that task could be available for a joiner workflow. It could be available for a leaver workflow as well, right? So it's as long as the task matches the workflow category. So in this case, I've asked about leaver tasks. Then those tasks that contain leaver will be available to the user. And so in this case, the parameter would be, okay, which license would you want to remove? And now keep in mind that these workflows are kind of it's part of automation, right? And so we've purposely develop the product in a way so that it's kind of set it and forget it, right? So you're configuring as an admin, you're configuring all these things ahead of time when you create these workflows or when you, modify existing workflows, and then those workflows will run on a schedule. If you enable the schedule, will run on a schedule for any users that are detected to meet the scope of the workflow. So you don't have to do this over and over. This is something that will be done hopefully once or twice. As changes happen in your organization, and then you can leverage Copilot to get these things set up. So that's another example. Now, if I want to, let's see, let's take a look at how many users were successfully processed by workflows in the last 14 days. So we have this notion of workflow insights, which, like I mentioned before, is like cross workflow insights. So you get to know how things are going across your workflows, even in addition to your specific workflow. So yeah, so here's a summary. So there's been 17 runs in total in the last 14 days in your tenant, 17 runs of workflows in general, 16 fail. Uh-oh, what's happening, right? And then of those 17 runs, 19 users are processed, but 18 failed. So I should note, this is a test tenant. So we specifically set up things for the positive and the negative cases, right? So that we can be able to show demos and be able to test things out. The other thing you'll notice here is, so there's been this response, and then we also offer, in most cases, the ability to navigate to the specific page that has the information so that you can look into it in more detail. So in this case, this has taken us to the overview page, which we happen to already be on. And then there's this workflow insights tab that actually has even more, the different detailed information that you might want to explore further. Let's see, what other prompts should I show? And actually, yeah, let's compare versions. So I want to know, let's see, for a particular workflow. So as you can see, the beauty of Copilot is it's on the right, while you can still navigate to the different pages in the portal. And so I have, let's see, I have this workflow, which has only one version. So let's see, let's find a workflow that has, all right, perfect. So we have this onboard pre-hire sales workflow. And so with this, we want to be able to compare specific versions. So let's say compare version 3 and version 6 of you can see this is a live demo. So I literally am just typing away and you'll see what the results are. And so with this, the Copilot goes and analyzes the prompt and goes and looks it up and says, oh, you want to look at this particular workflow and you want to be able to compare the versions of this workflow. And so it goes and does that lookup. So you can see it specifies, okay, the workflow name, the category, the description, just to give you a little bit of detail. These are the details of version 3. These are the details of version 6. And then it also, at the end, which is wonderful, it gives you actually the key differences between those versions. So version 3 is enabled, meaning it's active. Version 6 is not. And then there's some differences in the scoping and the trigger information. And then there's some differences in the task. right? So in version 3, there was only one task, which was enabling the user account. In version 6, there's been an additional task that was added. So now there's also this task to send a welcome email, right? And so it actually, again, using that navigation link, I can go directly into that workflow and see all the version history. And then I can see, how many other versions there are, and I can drill in if I want to. But, Copilot has already given me a lot of rich detail about these versions, right? And so, yeah, this is a wonderful thing. So, and I know with that, I will pause because I know we're at time. So Emily,
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Christina, for your presentation on today's topic. And thank you for everybody for joining us on today's webinar, and we hope to see you next time. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.